Lead off, my friend.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We made it. Look at us.
All right. I have my Sam Antics mug. My nephew
I've got
Sam
my
out in
totally
Arizona.
indescript mug.
Well, I have your mug, that the artist, my friend Randy Baker in Ohio, had made 2 mugs for us. And so I have to come over and give you your mug at a socially distant. I'll leave it on a table and you can
I'm
pick it
looking
up.
forward to it. I'm looking forward to the socially distant mugging.
A socially distant mugging. That could be
If
a
they
whole
could figure out a way to
thing,
do that, it probably wouldn't feel as dangerous. Hey, kitty cat. How you doing? My kitty cat's looking at me.
That's somebody just, calls out to you from a block away. Drop your wallet. Okay,
Right.
thanks a lot, man.
No
Appreciate
violence.
it.
Just drop it and keep walking.
Socially distant mugging. I think it could be really cool.
So I was telling you.
Or it could be like, drop your wallet. No. Okay.
That's you as a thief. You'd be like, all right, whatever.
Well, I mean, if they're going to make you work for it, what's the good in being a thief? You could just get a job, You're going to have to work
right.
too
At that
hard
point, you
at
might
it.
as well get a job.
A thief is the whole instant gratification thing. If you got to actually put in hours and plan and work and run across the block, it starts to get like it's not a profitable. It's a profit loss margin. It starts to shrink.
That's what we're doing now.
Anything about being a thief, Mike?
We all have had to do what we've had to do from time to time. What are you going to say?
I've been a thief of hearts in my younger years.
So I was telling you, we have a Golden Globe winner here in town. John Baptiste won a Golden Globe.
I was so happy for him, man. Of all the young talents I met after Katrina, the joy that exudes from that young man. I had the pleasure to work with him once where his band opened for me at a Jazz Fest event. And then Michael Cerveris did his American Songbook performance at Lincoln Center in New York. And because he so loves New Orleans, he invited a bunch of New Orleans musicians, and I got to sing the Ballad of Booth with him. And John Baptiste was a piano player, and he's so young at the time, this was years ago, and he just exudes such joy of the moment. We went out for drinks to a bar afterwards, and he would just sit there watching the scene go down. And every once in a while, this beautiful chuckle would come out of him, like, and he's just adorable. So to watch him go to the success on The Late Show and to watch his personality come out through that, his joy is, again, palpable on camera. It's palpable, and it's palpable in real life. So it's been great. And then to see his new record come out and videos he's making, and now he's got a Golden Globe, and really just much like the success that went John Boutet's way with Treme, this is a guy who deserves a success. His soul is lovely. His music is gorgeous.
Did you see Soul?
Did
you see Soul?
What's that?
That's what he got it for. That's the movie,
Soul,
the Disney movie. It was him and Trent Reznor and the Atticus, the guy that works with Reznor on these movie soundtracks. Atticus Ross, I think.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in a household wherein Disney was a common thing. Right. It was more, getting smacked around was a common thing, and cartoons seemed a little frivolous.
Disney was Disney when we were kids, but I don't think it became the thing until I had kids. Like in the '80s when it became a marketing.
So from the images projected in Disney. I grew up in abject poverty, and it was a violent upbringing, and I couldn't watch Disney. It just looked like, bullshit. Who's got a happy life like this?
This is insanity. Man? What are they trying to sell? What are they trying to sell?
What are they trying to sell? They were trying to sell a trip to the happiest place on earth, and I wasn't buying it.
They didn't want you to come there, didn't they?
For one thing, I was really poor and couldn't afford the happiest place on earth. I settled for the saddest place on earth until I could work my way around.
Yeah, when we were kids, my mom, she broke down and I think she eventually brought us, but we had to stay at some cousin's house like an hour and a half away because, there's no way we're staying in the hotels there. And so we drive in an hour and a half every day with "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" For an hour and a half. And then I can't remember, the coupon tickets were like something that she got free with some other thing. So we could only go on like this. Apparently at the time they were like A through E rides or something like that. And like we had all whatever the lowest tickets were, that's what we had. Yes, yes. And
That's
she's
what
like,
you
well, we don't have that. Sorry, hon. And I do remember going, man, that Space Mountain looks cool, huh? And they're like, yeah, it looks. Look at it from the outside.
meant. Yeah, well, as Woody Guthrie sang all those years ago, if you ain't got the do re mi, folks, you ain't got the do re mi. You better go back to beautiful Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Georgia, Tennessee. California's a garden of Eden, a paradise to live in or to see. But believe it or not, you won't find it so hot if you ain't got the do re
Yes,
mi.
tell me about it. Tell me about it. So, do you know Amy Beer?
Yeah, Amy's
Yeah,
a
she said
longtime
it
fan.
took her coming into
Good
New
person.
Orleans to catch us live, high from St. Charles Avenue.
Funny. That's funny. She's listened to the show from
Uh,
St. Charles
yeah,
Avenue at a
probably.
hotel or something. That's great. She's not from New Orleans. She comes in town once in a
Gotcha,
while to see some
gotcha.
music.
Yeah, so
That's fun. So she's watching our virtual coffee
and
talk
she got to hear you
show
sing. Yeah, look at that.
here.
She got to hear you sing "Do Re Mi."
Uh, well, I'm starting to, it's a daily process, and the days where I actually sing with freedom and sort of get to lose myself in it again is a gratitude I haven't felt since I was a kid. Haven't been without my instrument now for 2 years, and both fearing losing it and then the fear of using it, because it was such a just damaged instrument. So it, it made me feel bad to
Right.
sing, to hear myself, to struggle. Or especially if I was trying to sing in front of a friend and watch their faces as my voice just failed and I struggled and they could see the anxiety in me. So it's just great to sing freely. And even that little outburst just now was fun. It
Mm-hmm.
was, in a year ago, I couldn't have done it.
Yep, she said she drove from what's MD? Is that Maryland? Yes, yes.
Maryland, yeah.
Just making sure.
She drove in a nondescript part of the
Right.
country.
So I'm what was I just thinking? Dang it, I lost my train of thought. I was going to tell everybody. So, guys, I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but Paul is playing piano a lot now. He's getting pretty dang good at it, and I wonder if you guys would be interested in him sort of doing a something with piano, like just a whole different feel of music, because it definitely does change a lot of the music when you start playing on a piano. It gives it a completely different. You don't have that.
It's been fun, to learn my songs on piano has been a ball, and changed a lot. Like Jet Black and Jealous on piano is a really
Very,
different
yes.
experience. It's something that would have been on Imagine or something. And then learning jazz songs. I've been learning the American songbook, so I've been able to, as I expand my repertoire of chords, take those chords and place them into songs like "I Dreamt I Slept" or "Only in My Dreams" that were sort of meant to be jazz standardy sounding songs, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was a rock and roller, and so now inserting the proper chords, it's been really wonderful to hear them fill out. So yeah, maybe I'll do that
I think,
sometime when we'll add a segment. It'll be
yes,
one of our
yes.
segments, Mikey.
It's
Keep trying to cut it down, and it keeps expanding.
well, isn't it funny? Like with piano, you can really see the math of it, right? All of a sudden,
It's so, John Rankin told me that. He said it's so much more logical
right?
than the
Because it's
guitar.
all patterns.
It's laid
It's
right
right.
in front of you. Yeah, it's laid and it's linear. It's right there, and you can. It's a very logical instrument to me, and I have a good teacher. I once in a while, like Bill Malchow, who used to live here, a great piano player, lives up in New York again, his wife, and uh, he gave me a couple of lessons back in I don't know 6 months ago, and just we're friends. So he just said, do this, this, and this, and check back in with me. And I check back in. He goes, man, you're doing great. Who's that guy backing you up on piano? He's making a joke. So now I'm feeling really good on ballads, and I want to up the ante and be able to play a little bluesier stuff and to play my songs like Stu called New Orleans and Foot of Canal Street that are a little funkier. So we have another lesson for this week. So I'm
Nice.
looking
We've got a
forward to
few
it.
people in the comments here. Allison Dewar says, I used to be into it. I guess I'm guessing Disney, but now I'm cynical and tell my children Disney is a really long line with distractions interspersed through it. Okay, I see what you're saying. Disney World. And then Knucklehead
Yeah.
Eddie Ecker is wondering what time Griff's supposed to call so he can tune in a half hour later. So he only has to wait 15 minutes.
You know, Eddie used to work for us, so he knew that Griff was, you know, sometimes late, but he lived life in a different zone than we did, man. You know, before there was Google Maps, we would just say to Griff, if we were lost, we'd go, dude, which way do we go? And he would close his eyes, and then he would just go this way and give us directions. And we used to joke that he would just float out of his body and see it from above.
Nice, nice. Yes, Allison did take him to Cedar Point in Ohio, though, so she doesn't say no to everything. And she took him to Mardi Gras. You took him to Mardi Gras this year, Allison? Oh, yeah, somebody else saying nothing better than Cedar Point and Mardi Gras. But, so they're, you know, so if you took him to it this year, what did y'all do? Did you just kind of drive around and look at the house floats, or? Who knows? We'll see what she says. Oh, so we do. Yeah,
Talk
sure. I
for a
love
second.
talking. You know me.
Okay, so I'm late into saying this, but Mike, you and I are live right on our. Mike,
Hi.
say
Oh, you have
hi.
to say it to this one. Hello. You guys coming or what?
And you can catch us or whatever.
Oh my goodness. You know, I probably have to get the cup closer to me so I don't have to keep jumping off screen. This is a.
I forgot. I used to do that before the show to say, hey, we're about to start. And I forgot. You know, every day we say we're going to meet 10 minutes early. And we do. We say hello. And then we manage to be late. And here we are teasing Griff about being, I bet he's right on time. That's how wrong he is.
Well, he seemed really happy to be doing it. So yesterday when we did our little test.
Yeah, so fun. So we did our pre Skype check. And yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think he's going to have fun.
Although he was, because his girlfriend Kim had to help him through the tech. We're like, we can hear you, but we can't see you. And he, dude, I don't know what's going on. Then we hear Kim go, you have your camera muted. And he goes, oh, thanks. And then he shows up and he goes, I have tech support. His girlfriend sitting and then once in a while he'd disappear and he'd go, dude, what happened? She go, you hit your
I think he was looking up things on the computer is what it was. I think
he was playing with his phone while he was talking to us. At one point, he disappeared completely. And I'm like, dude, you can't play on an app on your phone. Why are you doing this? You go away.
Really? I was just trying to find this thing to show you guys. It's cool. It's really cool.
Oh, man, I have so many great memories of the Griff. You know, like in the early days, first of all, let me just say, Fred wanted to be a rock star and had worked hard at it to be a rock star. I wanted to be a songwriter. And being a rock star was just, you know, something I was passing through my life. Griff was born a rock star.
Agreed.
I mean, he's just a rock star. He just always was. He's a great singer. He's a great songwriter. He looks cool on stage. He also is one of the people that left. You know, like at the age of 20, he split. His parents were moving elsewhere, and he said, I'm not going with you. I'm moving to California with my punk band, and we're going to be big. And they got signed to a little tiny label as the Red Rockers, and they made a real punk record. And then the little tiny label got bought by CBS Records, and they were like the fourth video on MTV. And he was a rock star. He toured with U2 and the Go-Go's, and he still had that swagger when Cowboy Mouth was getting started, you know. And so he was always fun to observe. I mean, we're old men now, so you can tell these kind of stories, and like his girlfriend's not going to care. She'll probably just laugh. But, you know, we were playing I believe it was the Nick in Huntsville, Alabama, opened up for Will and the Bushmen, who used to just pack the place out. Will Kimbrough, who now plays with Emmylou Harris and is an amazing songwriter, singer himself, always was. So we opened up for the Bushmen, and they had it packed, and we're outside having a beer on the porch. And this really, you know, hot-looking girl in a leopard skin outfit walks up to Griff, and she goes, I've been checking you out all night. And Griff looks at her over his shoulder real casually and goes, yeah, I noticed.
Nice.
No, actually, he goes, it was obvious. I was just like, how do you even think of that, man?
You know, and the Bushmen.
Anyways.
And they used to do a version of Free Ride that was like, it killed it.
Well, they were also players, you know. I mean, Will was just a killer guitar. I mean, Sam was a great guitar player, but Will was and remains one of the most amazing guitar players that I ever, you know, made music with or watched make music.
Man, just really nice.
Incredible. Very nice fellow and an amazing singer and songwriter. Just can't say enough about Will Kimbrough. If you haven't checked him out, do.
Great songwriter too, amazing voice. When I was saying he used to do Free Ride, dude, he would just nail Free Ride, which is like really high, crazy, you know, just no problem, like it was nothing. Mark says he's been playing after playing guitar for 40 years. Do you have to fight muscle memory to get it right on piano with the left hand? The left hand confounds him on the piano.
You know what? It confounded me for the longest time, and maybe it was just the right time, but iReal Book shows you where to place your fingers when you come to a chord you don't know. So placing my fingers was the main thing, and Bill's instruction to leave my hands as close together and create the intervals around that so that it's comfortable to play. And then eventually, as I got more comfortable playing ballads, I didn't even try. I wasn't even thinking about it. My left hand just started playing bass notes. And I realized, oh, that's the bass player. I know how to play bass. I played bass in bands. The bass leaves a little more space and he roots the song and he suggests the coming change. And so slowly started to incorporate that in. And, at 60, I'm just fascinated and lost in it. And that's a
Right.
wonderful feeling, to learn something new and to be exhilarated again by music in a way I haven't in a long time. It's just been a real gift, a real grace
And like
in
we
my
were
life.
saying, I mean, the mood that piano puts forward compared to the mood of guitar, two different moods. So you're playing with some different colors.
It's the very different colors, yeah, it's a richer, sort of more elegant ambiance because of the depth of the
Right.
sound of a piano. And so it's been great fun.
Allison Dewar says she's trying to learn ukulele right now and she is not getting good at it. You ever try ukulele?
Yeah, I tried ukulele. See, my thing with the guitar is like I wanted to learn how to play guitar for the same reason I'm learning to play piano, so I can sit and sing songs. That's all I like songs. I mean, I don't. I mean, I like my friends who play solos. If they're playing with me and I know how much they love playing a solo, I'm definitely going to give them a solo. But if I was playing with friends that didn't like
Right.
solos, I wouldn't miss them. I like melody and lyrics, and that's what I like. And so, where were we talking?
Ukulele.
About? I
Did
got
you
off
try
on a tangent.
ukulele?
So with guitar, I never learned to do different weird tunings. I never learned the Keith Richards tunes. So I could play Stone songs. I never learned slide guitar. I learned to play standard tuning and as many songs as I could, thousands of songs I know. And I figured learning another way to play the songs would only slow me down in learning more songs. And when it came to the ukulele, somebody explained to me what the strings were, and I just thought, Sonia, because she learned. I just thought, I got a guitar.
I'm sorry.
I'll just buy a baby Taylor if I want a small
That's
guitar.
right. Wait, I got to learn new strings and notes and combos and no.
Oh, no. When I want to play guitar, I want to sit down and play. I don't want, as Mary LaSang once said in describing the difference between jazz and rock and roll. In jazz, they want to learn the song. In rock and roll, fuck learn the song.
Right.
I want to play the
said
song.
That before, yes. But I just want to play the music, which is
Well, Mike,
yeah. Well, that's a good one though, right? I mean, that's one that you can live by.
That one and vehicles. Please don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
That's definitely another good one. Another good one.
Because if a man doesn't have an ethos to live by,
obviously,
what does he have?
Food. I've been trying to fast lately. Like the other day, well, it turns out I've been kind of under the weather, and so I didn't eat for like a whole day. And I realized at the end of the day, I was fine. I didn't really want to eat.
Yeah, I've been eating too much during the pandemic. So for the day after Mardi Gras, I gave up sweets, which I'm a alcoholic, and I gave up alcohol, which was so much easier than sweets for me. Like, I definitely could go 40 days or a year without a drink, but a cookie?
Forget it.
I was walking through the drugstore to pick up a prescription, and I passed the Reese's cup display for Easter, and my mouth. I want a Reese's cup so freaking bad, man.
I got this bag of thin ones because I was like, well, it's the thin ones, right? So it doesn't. It's not the same thing, right? Me and my wife went through those in about, I guess, 2 or 3 nights of just a bag of Reese's. It's like, all right, get rid of this. That's why I fasted for a day, I guess, because that was just.
I used to work in a deli in Brooklyn back in the 80s when I was living in New York. I worked at the Shamrock Deli in Bay Ridge. And my boss, Dennis Alester, big, giant Italian guy with a big walrus mustache, hair parted down the middle because it was the mid-'80s, the great gold horn on his big, hairy chest. And he'd come in the morning after I'd opened the deli up, and they used to have this place that delivered fresh, hot coffee cake. And being from New Orleans, coffee cake wasn't a big thing in my life. But man, cinnamon crusted, powdered, sugared right out of the oven coffee cake is like, oh my God, in New York. So the guy would bring one, and every morning I was having a piece of coffee cake with my coffee. And he'd come in and watch me, and he'd just chuckle. And on the third day, he walks in, he goes, Paul, you better watch it with that coffee cake. Once on the lips, forever on the hips.
He's right. Hey, Mark is asking about, do you know about McCartney's got a uke story about George before Something, the song Something, on Concert for George. He says it's one of the sweetest memories he's heard. He imagines that we may have heard of. Did you hear anything about McCartney telling a story about George Harrison and ukulele?
No, I've seen some clips of him playing it, but no, I
You have to
haven't.
share that with us, Mark, at some point.
You know, but George had a lovely. I mean, he was a lovely guy, and I do have a story about Ringo's last visit to him. Ringo said that he went to see him, and George was dying from cancer, and he knew it would be his last visit, and he stayed as long as he could. But he said to him, "George, I have to go. My daughter's got brain cancer in Boston, and I have to go see her." And he said George looked up at him and smiled and said, "Would you like me to go with you then?" And Ringo said it was just George. He could tell a joke in the most serious moment, and also at the same time offer his support.
Wow, that is a sweet story.
And, McCartney gave him his house in Arizona to George and his wife so that he could spend his last days in comfort. He spent his last days at McCartney's house in Arizona. Yeah,
that's
I don't know if you know about his knife attack. Somebody broke into his house about a year and a half before the cancer took him. And in fact, his son thinks that the knife attack sped up the cancer taking his life because he was so weakened. But this schizophrenic broke into his house, and George went down. And he tried to ration with the man, and he could see the man was out of his mind. And he said that he was worried for his wife and his mother-in-law's safety, that the guy would get up at him. So he tried to wrestle the knife away, and the guy started stabbing him. And he said the entire time, his wife said the entire time, George never stopped chanting Ram, 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 which is God.
Right.
He was just chanting. He was ready for death. He was at peace. He wasn't going to try and kill the man. He was just trying to keep his family safe. Eventually, his wife saved his life by hitting the man with a poker from the fireplace and knocking him off of him. And they subdued him until the cops got there. But another just beautiful story of his belief in his faith. He believed in meditation, he believed in chanting, and he believed in Ram all of his adult life. And faced with the choice between inflicting violence on someone else and meeting Ram, he just tried to subdue his attacker and chanted for Ram.
Wow, neat stuff.
There's an inner peace there and a strength that's beyond me, but I certainly
absolutely, yeah. I don't think I would have been screaming Ram. I think I would have been.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Balls, I've been grabbing a handful of balls and twisting until I came off. I had him calling for God.
So sorry.
Look, man, I meditate every day, and I'm trying to get to that place where I can accept the attack and just chant out Ram. But in the meantime, motherfucker comes at me with a knife, I'm going to kick him in the balls and then try and rip him off. And I say that with all due love and respect, and
to the
with
human
a peaceful
experience, absolutely.
intent.
All peace, love, and everything else.
It wouldn't be a conscious thought. It would just be an immediate physical reaction to being attacked.
Absolutely. So, Golden Globes. Oh, by the way, go ahead.
Yeah,
I admire his piece. Sorry to change the subject to the Golden Globes, but there were a handful of. I didn't watch it, but I do know that they were using some really cool stuff. I heard, a lot of technical stuff that was cool, which always gets me a little bit excited. But beyond that, just who won and who didn't. Queen's Gambit won for Best Limited Series, which is like my favorite show, I think, from last year.
That was a perfect movie. And then I saw that Frances McDormand won for Nomadland, which was intense. First of all, she's one of my favorite actresses. She's just incredible in everything she does. And she was simply brilliant in this movie, in this
I didn't see Nomadland.
Beautiful movie.
Where is that at?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
It's on Hulu right now. And Hulu's on kind of a run, man. I just saw also on Hulu last night, I watched the United States versus Billie Holiday. And what a great story. It's directed by Lee Daniels, fantastic director who's done The Butler and a lot of great movies. And obviously, he really loved Billy. And you have to know her story. I mean, she was raped at the age of 10, and her mother turned her out to be a hooker before she was like
Oh, wow.
14 years old. And and then she wound up with a series. She thought that men beating her and abusing her was love. So she wound up in a series of bad relationships. And this guy, Harry Anslinger, who ran the Narcotics Bureau for the United States, had failed at canceling prohibition, and he was really pissed. And he was a racist. He hated black people, and he hated jazz. And he was out to ruin the jazz scene and specifically the black artist. So he started getting information on her boyfriends or her husbands so that they would have to get her hooked on heroin and plant heroin on her. Her manager sold her out. Three husbands sold her out to the feds. It's heartbreaking, and she just stays so strong. It was all about the song
Oh, wow.
"Strange Fruit."
Yes.
I don't know if you know the
yes.
song. You know the song. And if you're out there and don't know the song, listen to it because it's 1937 and she is singing about lynchings in the South because a bill was put before the Senate to make lynching of African Americans illegal in the South, and the bill did not pass. And that's how the movie begins. And so she's singing the song, and the government's pissed that she's singing about the truth, which is black people are getting lynched and nobody's doing anything about it. So the government is trying to ruin her life and her career because she won't stop singing the song. It's an incredible movie. And the young lady, I don't know, it's a famous singer, and I should know her name because she's famous, but I don't. But Lee Daniels, and I saw an interview with him, he said he didn't want to use her because he wanted an actress. But his friends were all like, you got to see her. She's got the spirit. When she sings, you will swear they're using Billie Holiday original soundtracks. She the voice down, and she's so beautiful, and she's got the beautiful elegance of Billie, but she's got the tragic, broken down, abused part when they're doing the heroin scenes. She's really wonderful, and Lee Daniels did a fantastic job. I thought I really enjoyed it. It was a little long, but I'm a Holiday fan, so it was no problem for me to stick with it.
Something to watch. My daughter told me to watch The Little Things, something on HBO Max.
Yeah, is it Little Things or Hidden Things?
Because he keeps saying over and over, it's the little things that get you caught or whatever. But it was pretty good. You know, it was okay. I was, you know,
it had some great music in it. That's, you know, for me that was like, because I know that Chadwick Boseman won for Best Actor last night for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. That was a wonderful play. But the commercials for it were slightly misleading because the trailers for it led you to believe there was going to be a lot more music in it than there was. And there was really hardly any music. It was mostly dialogue because it was a play by a great playwright, Owen Wilson. Not Owen Wilson, I got his name wrong. What was his guy's name? You're going to make me look it up now. Wilson, something. God damn it. I just named the actor.
Owen Wilson was, you know Owen Wilson. Shanghai Noon. Right. The cute little white guy, blonde-haired fella who always plays the misunderstood misanthrope.
Playwright, Fences. It's harder than you would think with my accent and Siri.
Yeah. Try telling it to call me. You'll want to come up with some kind of crazy name. While you're
August Wilson.
Well, that's a cool name. Wilson.
And I've seen Fences. Fences is a great play. Okay. And this was a great play. Yeah, this was a great play. It was really great. And Chadwick Boseman was great. The final scene was shocking. But I did think, and Viola Davis was fantastic in the musical parts they did give her. But I thought there was going to be a bit more music. So that's why the Billie Holiday, I'm all tongue-tied. The movie I watched last night, Billie Holiday,
Nomadland,
was so great. You know, it was a lot. The United States versus Billie Holiday. Yeah,
that's another one that's out right now, right? Another one worth seeing.
Yeah, I watched it last night. It's fantastic. A lot of music, and the music is excellent. I don't know who the players were, but it was just all great.
And Alison Dewar says something. Says the Colonel in the deli, the robbery story kills her. Something about a colonel.
the Colonel and the robbery story is one thing. The Colonel is another story. I've been thinking about the deli stories. If Allison wants to hear a deli story,
We'll have to wait. Save it for Wednesday, right? We'll have to save it for Wednesday because we got.
Oh, it's all right. We got 5 minutes before Griff calls in. Right. I'll give Allison the deli story. It was 1988, and I was working in the Shamrock Deli in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And my bosses had decided to go to a daytime baseball game and left me in charge. Now, in the mornings, I had a stockbroker rush that would come in from like 6:30 to 7:30. And I had to serve up bang, 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 bialys and bagels and coffee cake and coffees. And it was really crowded. And you didn't use the deli slicer in the morning because people weren't ordering sandwiches. And somebody just before the morning rush came in and ordered pastrami. And I was so pissed. Because pastrami is the flakiest of all the meats. Like ham, you can slice pretty clean, and cheese is easy enough to clean off. But pastrami with that hard crust, those little things go everywhere on the slicer, and it takes a lot longer to clean it. And you got to clean the slicer right after you use it, or else the stuff gets hard. So there I am cleaning the slicer, and my morning rush has just left, and I'm just in a bad mood because cleaning the slicer is going to take away time. I usually spend I used to have an hour and a half to sit and play my guitar where it was really quiet in the deli and I'd get a lot of guitar time in. So now I'm missing time on the guitar, I'm cleaning this stupid slicer. And this kid walks in with long hair and tinted 70s looking glasses and a flannel shirt. And he's got something over his shoulder. And I'm like pissed. I'm not even going to wait. I'll be with you in a minute, cleaning the slicer. I got my back to him and I hear him say, "I'm taking your register." Now to this day, it's 40 years later. I don't know why he told me he was taking my register. I was in a shitty mood and my back was to him. If he'd have just taken it and run out of the store, I'd have turned around, it would have been gone, and I would have gone, son of a bitch. And I would have gone on with my dad. I called my boss and said, "Hey, somebody took the fucking register." It was the weirdest thing in the world. But he told me he was taking it. And so I turned around, and sure enough, my cash register was in his arms, and he's yanking the cord out of the wall. And I don't know, just the sight of somebody robbing me, you never know how you're going to react when you get robbed. You always think, "Oh, I'm just going to let him take it." I don't want to get hurt. But something just snapped in me like a dry twig. And my boss kept a Louisville Slugger behind the counter. And I figured this clearly was the moment where a Louisville Slugger was called for. So with one hand on the counter and one hand on the bat, I leap over the counter and I chase the guy out to his car. And he throws the register in, he jumps in, and he goes to start it, and it won't start because it's a piece of shit. The guy's robbing a deli. He's not a master thief. He doesn't have a great. So this is like the moment of truth, he can't start. He's looking at me and I'm looking at him and I got the bat. So I didn't have the courage to send the first one through the glass, but I hit his hood just to get his attention, it dented his hood. And he looked up at me and I got to admit, hitting the hood felt pretty good. So then I sent one through the front window, and the whole time I'm chasing him out of the place and I'm hitting the car with the bat. I'm not yelling anything intelligent like "stop thief" or "somebody help me, stop that guy." The only words that would come out over and over and over again were "hey, hey, hey." I'm just screaming at the street like a lunatic. So I bash through the front windshield and he gets the car started and he whips a donut on 3rd Avenue in Bay Ridge and he starts heading for the Verrazano Bridge and his car kills again because, it's a piece of shit. He's robbing a deli. He doesn't have any money. So now I got another shot, right? So I go through the rear window. "Hey!" And he's looking at me, and I'm looking down at him. And this time I got him. I'm going for the driver window. "Hey!" And I hit the driver window, and the bat breaks in my hands. And he gets the car started, and he takes off down 3rd Avenue. And I'm chasing him with the half a bat. And I'm screaming, "Hey! Hey!" And this van's coming the other way. And I'm going, "Stop him! Stop him!" I finally got words to come out besides "hey." And the van doesn't stop him. So I jump in front of the van. I go, "Hey, man, that guy just robbed my deli." I said, "Stop him. Why didn't you stop him?" And he goes, "Hey, man, I didn't know what was going on. I saw the broken glass and a broken bat. I thought you was a fucking nut." So he drives on. And my boss, the Colonel, Dennis, comes in and all the customers are telling him what happened. And he's just laughing. He's a great big guy. And he's like, "Paulie, you got some fucking cojones on you. Look, next time they rob you, just let them take their register, all right? It's all right. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Don't get yourself hurt. Come here." He gave me noogies, and he's like so proud of me that I fought for his deli. Well, 2 weeks go by, and a cop stops by, and he goes, "Hey, we think we got the guy who robbed you." you want to come down to the station and ID him? I said, absolutely. I want to get this guy. Now, I don't know why I wanted to get the guy. Again, my boss didn't care, but my righteous indignation at being robbed was just flaring. I wanted justice. I wanted Batman to come down and kick this guy's ass. So I go with the cop to the police station, and they put me in the lineup room, just like in the movies, you know, and then the guys start walking in. And as they're walking in, I go, third guy, long hair, glasses. And they go, you don't have to say now, wait till they get in there and you get a good look. I said, I don't have to wait. Third guy, long hair, glasses. So they do the lineup, they make him turn and go, yep, that's the guy. He goes, okay, great, thanks. That's the guy we were looking for. I'm going to bring you back to your deli. So he's bringing me back, and I go, by the way, what would you get him for? And he goes, that guy shot a cop yesterday. And I was like, Jesus Christ, he shot a cop? And he goes, yeah, why? And so I start telling the story of chasing him and hey, and with the broken glass. And the cop's pissing himself laughing. I said, man, that guy could have killed me. He goes, that poor bastard probably never had a gun before he robbed you. You probably scared him in the butt.
So that's your contribution to crime in New York. How you scared criminals into carrying guns. Yeah, you know, I never thought about having a gun before. Right. This guy's fucking crazy. Chased me down the street, beat my car to senseless. You think maybe he traded the cash register for a gun? Maybe he just went in and said, here, take this cash.
Oh, that was sad. Would it be sad that scared him into trading the register for a gun? Yeah, you know, I was young, Mikey. I had a lot of anger issues when I was young.
That's still brilliant. All right, so here we are. We're going to try this again. We're going to bring in a third caller, you people. So Skeet says this is his favorite part, by the way, is watching us fumble around and try to get a person on the call. Yes,
very sweet of him.
You saw that little thing he sent us with the little penguins, the Madagascar penguins?
Yeah, I could make heads or tails of it. I've never seen that. Is that a Disney thing?
Whatever the hip, you know, like the Shrek people. DreamWorks. It's
Pixar, DreamWorks.
It's the whatever.
Yeah. See the penguin. Although I like real penguins. I didn't see the penguins, but I do like real penguins because they're very elegant. You know, they always have a tux on.
I do have to admit.
Yeah. I think he's trying.
Those penguins are funny. Oh, he is trying to call in. Let me get him.
Right.
Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Lots of fun, people. This is his favorite part. So why? Let's see here. There's JT. I don't think JT has his camera on. There's JT. Hold on a second. Let me at least swap over there. So at least we got JT. We just don't have Paul right this second. We got that big time piece of Paul's head.
Can you hear me, Mike?
I do not have Paul yet. Let me see if I can hear you, Griff. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
I should be able to, but I don't. Let me. Oops, sorry.
Hey, there you
are.
Paul. There you are.
Okay.
And there's Griff.
Okay.
To your call.
So let me make Paul where we can see him real quick. Just take a second. How you doing, Griff?
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. I see you got your Dodgers hat on.
Oh, you better believe it, dude. World champions can't deny it. Hey, it is weird because it wasn't a 162 game year, so.
Yeah.
But they're predicting that they're going to win over 100 games this year, coming if they do play.
So. Man, a true fan, Griff.
I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah. Dude, has Drew Brees announced he's leaving for good or no?
No, but he took a $19 million pay cut from $20 million to $1 million. I'm thinking he'll probably stick around and come out and take a bow, first game of the season, and then announce his retirement.
Wow. Wow. That's a big pay cut.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's leaving. I mean, I think that's why he took the pay cut. It's the right thing to do to help the team free some salary cap to help us sign somebody to replace him.
Right. Gotcha. Who's that favored?
Well, I just saw an article yesterday saying that we're on the list of teams that Russell Wilson wants to be traded to.
Really?
And, that would be a hell of a team.
I love that little emoji
you just hit
put on there.
A crying face appeared in front of me.
Yes, my little cat. Yes, is that what you saw? Yeah, she was. She likes to get and stand on my computers, so I was trying to keep her from doing that during the show. It's probably not a good idea that she stands on the computers during the show.
I wanted to tell Mikey like the basic difference between Griff and I. Griff is the most affable guy. We can get along with everybody. We were in France in this really small town, and Griff found this like bar from the 16th century, and we're in there drinking, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Man, my French gets better with every drink I have." And then the French guy comes over to her and he goes, "We do not understand your friend. He speaks French with a Texas accent." We close the place, you know. We close the place and we get back to where we're staying, but it's a really tiny town and our hotel's locked. It's locked for the night. We've stayed longer than they'll let us in. And we're so drunk that we're trying to climb up a drain pipe to where Steve Walters' room is so we can climb in his window. But it's like two floors up and we can't make it. And so Griff says there's some bench, little river in front of the hotel. And he goes, "Dude, we just sleep on the benches till they open the hotel in the morning." I'm like, "Yeah, by this time we're so tired, you know, we're so drunk." So we're laying on these benches and we start to hear some loud noise and some laughter. And I look down and I see these 4 dudes coming towards us. And my first instinct, like Griff's first instinct is, "Hey, maybe those guys have a beer we can get from them." My first instinct is, "Hey, man, if these guys cause any trouble, I'll take the 2 big guys and knock them in the river. You take the other guy." What?
That's not even a joke. That's like verbatim. I thought, man, that literally, that's verbatim. Yep. And those guys just came by and just said hi and passed on by. And I was like, I was getting ready to fight.
By the way, Griff. Hey,
Griff
Paul.
Just follow him up.
Chicago Lou saying Griff. Got the Griff with the exclamation points. Does he know Lou? He's got to know Lou, right? Who's Lou?
Lou.
Luis Marquez.
Oh, Luis.
So
Marquez,
Luis is one of our watchers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then another great French story was Griff and Steve Walters, our bass player, went to go see the Buzzcocks because both Griff and Steve were true punks and they wanted to go see this punk band. And afterwards, they're sitting there watching the lead singer sign autographs. And Steve said, these really pretty French girls came up and he goes, "Hey, love, would you like to come back to my room with me?" And she goes, "Oh, but I thought you were married." He goes, "Yes, very sad, actually. She's leaving me. In fact, she's already left."
Did you guys enjoy it overseas, Griff? I mean, that was you had some good times when you were overseas, or some?
We did tours of France, man. It was, we did that festival, and then 6 tours.
Yeah, and we had these crazy drivers that all thought that, especially this one we had, he thought he was a race car driver, and kept yelling at, and when he'd take one of those little roundabouts, he would go like 60 miles an hour, and we'd all be thrown against the side. And he'd just look back at us and scream, "I am famous race car driver," or something like that.
He was forever getting lost, too. Every town we'd pass through, he'd stop and say, "Oh, my cousin works in this bar. I have to go in and say hello." And after like 6 times of this happened, we realized he was going in for directions. He was just completely lost.
Yeah. But, Paul, I got to say, that story, sleeping on the benches and the 4 guys, that's one of my favorite stories to tell. I'll never, it's one of the best ones I remember. It's so funny.
Well, one of my favorites was, I told it actually a couple of shows ago, was when we accidentally, me, you, and our tour manager at the time were skiing the green, and we took a wrong turn because I was leading, and I went down the wrong path, and suddenly we're facing a double black diamond to get down the last 400 yards of the mountain. And like, what do? We can't do double black. And our tour manager was like, "Well, I'm not climbing back up because it was 30 yards back up the mountain. You'd have to take off your skis." And she takes off down the mountain. And I go, "Oh, shoot, I'm just going down." So I'm snow plowing my ass off, trying to get down this mountain. And we get down, we look back, and we're looking for you. And about halfway up the mountain, we see the ski patrol picking you up and picking up your skis, and they give you a ride down. You're pissed off, like your face is like this, and you got your skis over your shoulder. And we're on the ski lift already going back up, and we're going, "Griff, meet us at the top." And you went, "No fucking way, I'm done with this shit." And I looked down, "Dude, rock and roll." And you went, "I'll see you at the top, dude." And you did. You came up and did the last run with us.
You know what? I was skiing with Alan Holly, who's our dear friend Alan I grew up with on the West Bank, and we were skiing up at Steamboat, and we were on the back part of the mountain. And this is probably, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, and I wound up going. So I was waiting for him at the top, and a couple and their 2 kids asked me to take a picture, and I took my gloves off, and it was bitter cold, and it was starting to snow real hard, and there was a blizzard coming in. We knew it, and we were trying to get down. And so I took the picture, and I felt like my hands got frostbite. I don't know. I don't think they did, but it felt like that. So long story short, they just went ahead and skied down, and I was still waiting for Alan. And weather was getting worse. I just said, screw it. I'm just going to go down because I can't wait any longer. And I have sound check or whatever in about, 30 minutes. And, Alan was always one of those, you have time before sound check. Let's go ski for 3 hours up in the mountain. So anyway, long story short, I decided to cut through the woods because I thought, Paul and I, we've all skied on so many mountains. They all look alike after a while. And you don't know, you think, oh, there's a trail over there. I know there's a trail over there. It was last time. But but last night could have been another mountain totally. But anyway, the funny thing is I skied through the woods and I went into the snow up into my waist, and I could not even get my skis off. This is really bad. I wound up hyperventilating and started throwing up from the altitude and from just trying to work really hard to get out of the skis themselves. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, and I was like, man, nobody's going to find me. I'm in the woods. There's no trail on either side of me within 100 yards. If I yell, nobody's going to hear me because everybody's gone down the mountain already. I started freaking out, and I thought, I'm going to have to think like a Boy Scout and build an igloo or something and get inside it and stay warm for the night until they come and find me. Long story short, out of the blue, in the middle of nowhere, I swear to God, Alan comes skiing through the woods and goes, Griff! I'm like, God, how on earth on this whole mountain that you skied in the right place at the right time?
Wow.
So he went down. It was quite. I mean, I consider it a saving my life kind of event. Like Alan.
Yeah, we got a lot of great adventures on the road.
Yeah.
But we sometimes threw them a bit too headlong.
Yeah.
I remember we were staying at the Grand Canyon, and we were doing a 27-mile bike ride. The whole gang of us, the crew, the band, except for Fred, were riding around the Grand Canyon on bikes. And each of us were taking turns leading the pack. And it was late in the day, and somebody got the great idea that Paul should lead the pack. It was well known that Paul has no sense of direction. But Paul gets out front, and I'm just tearing ass on this trail. And all of a sudden, somebody screams, "Stop!" And I slam on my brakes and slide to within like a foot of the edge of a cliff. I'd gone past a sign that said, "Edge of a cliff."
Yeah.
Turn. I'm just riding my bike. Oh, there's signs on this mountain. I don't know from. Ah!
Oh, yeah.
I was removed from the lead. We were in France on that very same tour, and we were going to go, Griffin, Steve Walters, and I, and the tour manager were going to go to this bar. And I'm going, I absolutely remember this bar. We passed it last night. It's the coolest little bar. We got to go. So all four of us start walking, and I'm lost, of course. I don't know my right from my left. And we find this hill, cobblestone path that leads to a dark place that has a sign that I think is the bar. And I go, that's it. That's definitely it. The tour manager goes, no, I'm not going up that hill. Walters and Griff, because they love me, they're my bandmates, they go, sure, man, I'll walk with you. Steve got halfway up and he goes, fuck this, man. That's not the bar. And Griff, my twin guitar attack brother, went all the way, knowing he knew it wasn't a friend. And he walked the last 200 yards up that cobblestone hill, and he went, dude, you know it's not the bar, right? I was like, yeah.
I was just thinking 127 hours with Griff, like being stuck out in the wilderness, like Luke Skywalker building an igloo. And I could just picture the whole thing, just building an igloo around you, a little smokestack, sitting under the snow.
Well, I didn't have any matches or anything. I was kind of shit out of luck, but I was lucky that Alan. I couldn't believe it. It was like a miracle, one of those things where you just go, how on earth did he know that I was in this section of the woods? I mean, it's an
incredibly lucky guy. That's all.
I am lucky.
Do you have a favorite concert? Do you have a favorite concert that we played together?
I love a lot of those French ones were great. Remember when we played La Salle, the Cité? Salle, it was a rock. It was like kind of on a theater. It was you had to walk into a courtyard, and it was Jimmy Ford was with us, and it was like a old rock like big boulders, old school, probably some old like church that was built in like,
I remember that place.
or something like that. Anyway, long story short, we were all assigned a group. I want to say a groupie. I almost said that, but like a guitar tech. We each had our own guitar tech.
Oh my God!
The first time that we'd ever had that pleasure of having someone that served your needs, and
The flip side of that French tour, you remember we were playing that little dungeon club and your guitar amp went out and the sound man goes, it's okay, I got it. He takes your plug and plugs it into my amp. See? It's okay. Like, yeah, that's great.
It's funny because we've done so many crazy gigs, and one of that still sticks out in my head is the Centenary Oyster House and at Shreveport, Louisiana.
I told that story a couple of weeks ago.
Basically, I would be behind the PA stack. Paul was basically his one foot on the bar, his left foot up, and that's all the room we had. I remember the night that the PA went out after like the third or fourth song, and we're all standing in the back, and Fred's like, come on, get it to work, pushy on the guy, and we were all like, well, you can only do so much, I mean,
Look at this stuff. It's
you got one stack of PA and a PVF sitting in the kitchen,
sitting in the kitchen, yeah.
So we look at the thing, and the guy looks at the CS 800 PV, power amp, and he looks at us and he goes, well, you see that red light? If that red light ain't on, it ain't gonna work. I was like, gee, wow, that's brilliant,
It was perfect.
I mean, that's something to live by.
I asked Mary LeSang, and one of her favorites, and definitely one of mine, I bet you one of yours, was Music Midtown in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
That was like 50,000 people in front of us, and literally they disappeared down a hill. We just couldn't see where the people ended.
Yeah.
And then opened for Cheap Trick. And so and I watching backstage, and Cheap Trick hits their last note. They just walk down the gangplank right into a waiting limousine and pull away. And Griff turns to me and goes, oh, yeah, that's going to be us one day.
Right into a limousine.
The crowd's still cheering. They're just walking down the gangplank.
Yeah, walked right on in. Yeah, just took off. The good old days. Oh, my God. Hey, man, check out this guitar.
We do have you. What about opening up for the U2 at Red Rocks?
We didn't open for U2 at Red Rocks. That was before our time. That was the Bloody Sunday album. The album before.
Now I have to ask you. I don't know if you want to tell the story on camera, but it's the statute of limitations has run out.
Okay.
On the story of your last gig.
Let me check my watch. Okay, yeah.
Story of your last date with U2 at the United Center in Chicago.
Oh, that's a great one. I was dating Karen Brady at the time. And
wonderful person.
And Karen, I think she owns one of those studios down there. I don't know if it's still around down in Maryland somewhere. No. Long story short, we had just done a week in Hawaii, and with U2, and our ending of the tour ended at 2 nights in Chicago. First night was Red Rockers opening for U2. The second night was Lone Justice. The first, of course, the end of the first night, we decided to celebrate, and Karen flew up from New Orleans, and I had some microdot LSD that I had bought in San Francisco from a friend, and it was pop a little LSD and watch U2, and sure enough, at the end of their show, I see scrambling going on around, which is quite unusual from the typical after show stuff. I was like, my tour manager, Terry Woodruff, runs up to me and says, they want you on stage right now. And I'm peeking. I'm singing. And we're just enjoying the show and really having a great time. And I'm like, oh, my God. But, back then, I didn't think 2 shits about it. I just like, okay. Right. I just thought, okay, this is supposed to happen. It's like we told Paul, we'd be around, that something great would happen. And I go, well, dude, if it's not happening, it's wrong. If we're not opening for somebody or we're not on that tour, we're doing something wrong, but we were doing something right, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway, I got up and sang, and it's on tape somewhere. It's out there.
The great thing is, like, you told me that story, 25 years ago, right? So I leave Cowboy Mouth, and I'm living in Belize, and I'm channel surfing YouTube videos, and I see YouTube United Center Chicago, 1980. What was it?
It was like 1985.
And I go, oh my God, I think this might be the show Griff told me about. So I fast forward through the show to the end, and sure enough, they go, and from our opening band, John Thomas Griffith. And there you go. You come out and you sing a great version of one. And I'm just cracking up. I'm like, he's tripping his brains out. But he didn't miss a lyric.
You wouldn't know. Well, that's the cool thing. You wouldn't know the difference. I mean, I really couldn't tell. It was actually it was the song 40. You know how long?
40.
You know, and to sing the song. So he just handed me the mic and said, "Take over," and I took over the second verse and the end of the song.
And that's what makes
off.
Griff a rock star, right there. Just Bono hands in the mic.
Sure.
No problem. No problem. Here I go.
Yeah. Step up. Yeah. You can step up.
You might be one of the greatest rock and roll singers there is, Bono, but I'm going to step up behind you and I'm going to kick your ass right now. So, boom. So, what you got, a guitar there? You're going to show us your new guitar? Is that your new fancy?
Yeah, man. Some guy from this Telecaster. This guy from St. Louis just sent it to me. I just got it like last weekend. Yeah, it's a little Telecaster. He's supposedly repairs and it's really heavy.
That's the difference in our lives, Griff. Somebody just sent you a guitar. Somebody just sent my coffee cups.
Oh, cool.
Which we love.
Did they say the Mike and Paul show, the Paul Sampson and Mike Mayu show?
Yes. I don't know if it has that on the cup. But...
They do?
It's just artistic cups. We haven't gotten that far down the road.
But they did make it in honor of the show. So. Well, Telecaster's not really your guitar. That's more Sanchez's guitar, right? I mean, you're more of a Les Paul.
Yeah, it's more of a
Griff
Paul.
always had tellies.
Yeah.
Used to have that great thin
telly. It's definitely a Paul
right.
Sanchez
I mean,
guitar.
you're the Les Paul guy, Strat guy, right? I mean, generally.
Mostly, yeah.
How do you like the telly, though?
Yeah. I've got my other. This is. You remember this old guitar right here?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
A little yellow TV special. It's got stickers all over the back of it.
Listen, our show has come to its end, but before we go, I thought we were going to meet your dog.
Well, Waldo's upstairs. He's asleep. He just lays out in the bed. I thought he'd come down. Waldo.
So Eddie Acker has a question. You got a couple of things before we go.
That's perfect. I will end it with Where's Waldo, though.
Well, the good thing.
Got to end the show with Where's Waldo.
If there's one good thing that came out of this whole pandemic, it's definitely my dog, because we rescued him. We fostered 3 or 4 dogs before we got Waldo, and then we fostered them for 2 weeks, and then we'd have to give them back. And then when Waldo came around, he was this big, had big ears, huge ears. He's like a half Papillon and a Chihuahua mix with with some kind of hound. But anyway, long story. He's only about 15, not even 13 pounds. He's small. And we knew he'd be small. But anyway, so when we got him, I just fell in love with him. And I just I just got to keep this dog. I just, it was time to get a little puppy.
You're always a dog man. You love your friends.
He's great.
Before we let John go, we got a couple of people on the chat. Amy Beer says, hi, Griff. Philip Guzman was howdy, Griff.
Hi, Amy.
And then Eddie Ecker asked if the U2 gig was before or after you nailed the Go-Go's.
Here it comes. Hold on.
Eddie Ecker has to ruin everything. You know how he is. I'm sorry.
My roadie.
Look at that. There we go.
Nice.
Oh, he is cute, man. Look at him.
Yeah. Oh, he's hot, sleepy. It was
after. There you go, Eddie. There's the answer to you.
Thank him for bringing Waldo down.
It's true that dogs look like their owners. Buddy. It's definitely true. He has a good-looking boy.
Hey, I look like a dog.
He looks like a human.
Funny, haha.
He's a good-looking boy.
He looks friendly.
He's very nice. He's all licks. Yeah. But Paul, you need to get yourself a puppy, man.
You know me, Griff. I have a hard enough time taking care of myself without having to take care of myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I know it's just I wish we could do this more often. I love to just sit.
Well, we'll definitely have you back as a guest, my
And even
friend.
if we
It was
just
great to see you. Great
chat,
chatting
just
with you.
it's pandemic time. Maybe
Stories.
we just chat and hang out even offline sometime. Although me and Paul don't do it offline anymore. We don't even talk to people anymore. We just do it here. We've stopped talking to people in the real world.
Yeah. This is the extent of my socialization. I see Mike coffee 3 times a week, and that's really all I need.
Well, I know. Well, I think we can all agree that the pandemic's kind of brought a new kind of thing to the table, which is like I almost feel like I don't even want to go back.
Right, right.
Sometimes,
You have
the world has
more
gotten really
space, and life has slowed down tremendously.
Yeah,
It feels good.
yeah.
I would have never learned to play piano if I didn't have this kind of time.
Yeah, well, I could show you some blues licks and stuff.
I'd love to learn. Let's get together on that, buddy.
You'd enjoy that. You'd start
All right.
playing some like crazy blues
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that after this is over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining.
Same to
I
you,
love you guys
John.
dearly.
We love you too, man.
All right, folks. Tune in on Wednesday when we'll be doing this again, and we'll be having 2 minutes of
2 minutes of
Edward.
Edward. Here comes our outro music.
And-
Oh, and just by the way, yeah. I miss Eddie. By the way, $40. What do you need $30 for?
That was
My favorite one.
he appeared last week, and I had him do that for the people because I love that story.
All right, everybody have a great time. We'll see you
All right,
next
guys.
time.
See you.
See y'all.
Well, I used to keep my money in a cookie jar. It was shaped like a cat, it was a present from my brother. I read a lot of books, but I couldn't see between the lines. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. Well, her hair is as black as an alleyway, and it used to be red, and it used to be blonde. Truth is, her hair changes color all the time. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind.